So, verse 5, conscious of being in a certain stage of life or not, meditation, rejecting objects which are actually created by the mind, these distractions are all gone. I abide in the self. And would you like to say something, Baba?
Yeah. Here, rejecting the objects created by the mind has to happen in the mind only, actually, rejecting them. Simply, we cannot reject the earth and go somewhere else. And we have to reject the body also. So such things doesn't happen. We don't know. But what we can know is the things that the mind has created, such relationships, such bondage, such ownership, such owning the things, like these objects are mine, this property is mine. So we can try to reject them in the mind. Nothing belongs to me because I myself is not there. That I is only an individual imagined self. So there's no point in carrying that I own this and this is me, this is mine, all those things. So they simply keeps giving unhappiness, tension or fear of losing or something like that happening. So that's what even Bhagavad Gita talking, Tyagat Shantira Nantaram. So you get peace only after you sacrificing. The same thing Ashtavakra also talks. You have to reject in the mind, then you have peace. So that's what the essence of these verses.
Yes, in your commentary, you say simply by renouncing a particular action and getting involved in another action, the mind will not become quiet. The mind has to realize and become quiet by not bothering about anything. Even ignoring the habits of the mind is necessary to become quiet. Is that a practice, Baba? We you can kind of practice kind of ignoring a lot of the mental chatter that we have.
That's what you are precisely practicing when you sit for meditation. Means in meditation, many people might misunderstand that you are meditating on something else. In meditation, actually, you are practicing to keep quiet mentally. That's what you are doing when you are just watching and not doing anything. So you are practicing to reject everything that is in the mind. All ideas needs to be dropped. All imaginations needs to be dropped because they are simply imaginations. The mind has imagined, and that's why things appears to be so. Thus, the mind can never give the truth because it gives only what it imagines. So this needs to be dropped. That's what can happen when you just watch and don't get engaged with the thoughts and visions. So that's what is the essence of these verses teachings.
Okay, verse 6, by both abstaining from action and also acting to achieve a desired result, both are born out of ignorance. Truly knowing this truth, I now abide settled in the self. 7, thinking of that which is beyond thought is still thinking. Renouncing all thought, I now live in the self. That 8,
Yeah, I have explained as there is no relative existence for the ultimate truth. So by thinking, by using a terminology, by using a language, you can never explain as it is impossible. So you have to go beyond the thinking. That means the mind has to become totally quiet. Then the mind's attention turns to itself, or in other words, what I keep saying, consciousness of existence. That's where it gets absorbed into the self eventually and giving the awareness of the self also.
in your commentary, Baba, in the book, you say, by a thought of the mind, you cannot know your real self. Only by becoming quiet in the mind can you know your real self. To know the space, you have to be the space. By becoming a relative existence, you can never know the truth. You have to become that, capital T.
Yeah, that's what I tried to explain. If you try to take the space, which is all pervaded, this word we keep using, sentence, all pervaded, omnipresent, but how it is all pervaded, impossible to know. You can, just by being in the body or through the body, you cannot travel the length and breadth of the space and tell, oh, I have seen the space and how it is, and this is the space. Impossible. For that, you have to become space itself. Only the space can measure the space. Nothing else can measure the space. Impossible. So that is what is needs to understand. That's why you have to become silent. That means by imagining a language or a sentence, you can never know what the ultimate truth is. Because by thinking, we always tend to think it as something that can be perceived by the sensory organs. We should be able to see it or smell it or listen to it, something. We are used to that one. It is beyond all these things.
It can't be perceived, conceived, or known through intuition. Beyond
Inconceivable. That is the thing.
So, verse 8, Baba, it says, the one who's reached that has reached the final goal, completely fulfilled and blessed. And then in your commentary, you say, this should be the purpose of life. This should be achieved. One who has achieved is blessed.
Yeah, that's what we have tried to tell. Having obtained a human body, which is the rarest of rare gem, we have a well-developed brain, is able to discriminate the real from unreal, and right and wrong, everything is possible. So if we want to achieve, we must achieve the highest. After that, there must not be anything else to achieve. So thus, if we are looking for peace and happiness, that must be the final peace we must achieve. If we are looking for ourselves, to know ourselves better, we must achieve the true self of ours, which is the final, after which nothing else exists. No more higher true self exists after that. People keep telling true self, this self, that self. There is no such thing. Only one self is there. That is you. So once you merge with that one, you being there, be in that one. So that is all. And there is nothing else to go beyond that. That is beyond everything. That which is beyond everything, and nothing else is there beyond that. So that is the ultimate truth. That is the self, real self. So that to abide in that, first you have to achieve the silence of the mind. That's what everybody need to understand. And then understand the effect of just watching. If you are just watching, know that you stop thinking gradually. When you don't think, all thoughts and visions all disappear. They are all there because of your thinking. Your thinking means you are imagining, you are creative. Your mind is consistently keeps creating thought after thought, thought after thought, thought after thought, vision after vision, story after story. It keeps knitting and knitting, knitting like a chatterbox. That you have to stop. To stop that, technological thing is that you just watch. Mentally, you just watch. That's why I keep telling, when we initiate you into this meditation, no target is given. We are not asking you what is it that you have to watch. Just asking you to watch in between eyebrows. There is difference. Watching in between eyebrows and to watch a particular thing is different. If I ask you to watch a particular thing, then you will start imagining about that thing. So there is no need to imagine anything. Just watch in between eyebrows. This will help you to get rid of all imaginations. That means you must understand the mind is trying to watch itself. you are trying to become aware of yourself. That's what. First, you have to become quiet. So you are trying to become quiet mentally. That's what the meditation is. That's what in this 1 hour you all were trying to do. When I asked you, just watch in between eyebrow and don't repeat any mantra. Don't imagine about anything. If thoughts and visions come, don't imagine. Then you can get rid of all ideas born out of mind's imagination. And when the mind becomes quiet, you get into the reality of existence.
Yeah, when you, even intellectually or mentally, when you recognize that you can't be your body, you're not your body, you're not the thoughts that you're having, and then you become aware that, well, somebody's witnessing or watching this whole thing, and that's who I am, but who is that? And the only way you can find out is to turn off the television. You kind of have to turn off the mind. And
Turn
then,
off the mind. Turn off the mind. Even in the neti means this is not me, this is not me. All matter, including the physical body, you try to count whether it is this or not. You will come across it is not me because it is impermanent. It's going to go away. And that is not from where the consciousness of existence is coming. That I is not arising from any of the matter, any of the bodies. If you keenly observe, then when the mind becomes quiet, it is within the mind that consciousness of existence, that I. When the mind gets absorbed into that I also disappears. Only it exists, but there is no thought of the I. Then it merges with the self. That means there all ideas have been dropped. Everything else came into existence because of the creativity of that self only. If that self stops that creativity of itself, it is being there. It just becomes quiet and it can remain at peace.
so Bob, is that state of supreme peace, just pure consciousness? Could you also call it pure existence?
Yeah, purely existence or pure consciousness, both are same. Just for these terms also, only for sake of understanding and communication, a teacher has to use.
Because it seems like existence becomes conscious, and then and that's still unbounded or boundless, but then it begins to think, or it begins to imagine, and then it gets involved, and then creation happens, and then it gets caught up in the creation, thinks it is what it's created, forgets that it's in a state of freedom.
In duality, to tell that truth, which is pure consciousness, that existence, which is pure consciousness, that can be told in a duality. But when you become that, there is nothing to tell. You just become quiet. So that's why I keep using the terminology of consciousness of existence is arising. Observe that. Then this mind, which is watching also, gets absorbed into that one. So then this consciousness of existence also disappears. Only the self when it exists.
Nice. Okay, Baba, we'll move on to chapter 13 in Ashtabakya Gita, and this is Janaka speaking in chapter 13, and it's titled Happiness. Janaka speaks, verse 1. It's difficult for anyone to attain that state of resting in the true self with no sense of owning even the slightest thing, even if it's only a loincloth. Now, having given up both renunciation and acceptance, I'm happy. At verse 2, at some time or other, the body will be troubled, or the tongue will falter, or the mind will tire out. Renouncing all of these, I now rest in that ultimate goal, happy. Verse 3, resting in the self, realizing no actions are actually being done, I carry out activities in the world simply as they present themselves, truly happy.
See, while active in the world, we don't get attached to either to the actions or to the results. Simply as it comes, we go on attending on to that one. Like we don't remain attached to the Zoom all the time. As it comes, we attend, we execute. As the question comes, we answer. As the suggestion comes, would you like to do Zoom? We just say, yes, I am in. And that's it. Like that, it goes on mechanically. I don't have to prepare mentally. I don't have to keep thinking mentally. Oh, whole week, will Agastya call me for the Zoom? Will it happen? Will it not happen? That doesn't occur to the mind at all. I would have forgotten totally until you remind me. Would you like to do the Zoom like that? Ah, yes, we can do it. No problem. Like that, mechanically, we keep doing, but there is nothing in the mind. It is pure, simply quiet in the silence, ever silent one. It is there. And thus, it has the contentment, peace, abiding in the self. It is there in the self all the time. So there is nothing to lose. It doesn't own, because it doesn't own anything at all. If we own anything, then there is a fear of losing. We don't have to lose because we don't own anything at all. We don't even own this physical body also, we do not own. So there is nothing that we have to lose. Whenever it came into existence, at that time, this body did not ask me, can I come into existence? It came into existence. So the day when it dies, it will not ask me, can I go away? Can I die? It won't ask my permission. It will do it. It will happen. So that's it, finish.
So the key there is that in becoming aware of the self, it no longer it's realized that it's not the body and the mind, and doesn't identify with being that anymore. So it's not worried about what the body and the mind are doing.
Yes.
Is that it?
So when we are totally beyond everything, we have transcended everything actually, and we are not this. So if we are body, we have to worry so much. A hungry will happen, and we need to sleep. We need to do this thing. Mentally, we won't worry. And the body needs mechanically, the food is given, it takes. So that's it happen. But for that, we don't have to be imagining the whole world, whole day or the whole week, and wanting that craving will not happen. There is no craving. It is at peace. When the food comes by destiny, so that is given to the body, that is taken. That's it.
Baba, what makes the body mind run after self-realization? Once the self is realized, is the truth the body and the mind are kind of just running mechanically through?
Mechanically, and just at that moment, as it comes, it works. Like it is the moment. Until the question comes, I don't know what I am answering, what I have to do. And nothing is in my mind also. I am quiet. As the question comes, spontaneously answer comes. I don't have to prepare because I don't know what the question is. Where is the question of preparing to answer the question? I don't know what it is, what you are going to ask. You ask on this topic, you ask, and it spontaneously comes. For this, I don't have to do a reading and make preparations. Just like that, every action also, you face the moment, that is all. When the time comes, it happens and we do it. The body, for that, mentally, I don't have to induce the body with all its exerting its pressure and imagination. It is not necessary. It can remain silent. Quietly, the body mechanically keeps doing.
So, Bobby, when you're self-realized, is it true that only the moment exists?
Always it is in the presence. The presence is always contented and peace because there is no imagination. There is no gaining anything, no losing of anything, and nothing belongs to me. So simply in the awareness, you are in the present moment all the time. Present moment is always contented and supremely peaceful. Only the past brooding, if it is to the past, the mind goes into brooding. Brooding means remembering the past, missing something. Oh, it is not there. How nice it used to be in my childhood, how beautiful it used to be. You start missing things. There is no such thing. In the
Or,
future also, you become anxious. Oh, tomorrow it has to happen. What if it doesn't happen? What the cooking is not going to happen? What will I eat? My God, then whole night I won't be able to sleep. I'll be worrying. But in the present, we're just at peace.
Baba, for a lot of people, missing the past is not the problem. It's fear of the past, thinking it's going to come back.
Yeah, that's what. The brooding generates further fear things. If a certain thing, bad thing had happened, they don't want that thing to come back. The very remembering that thing can create such a scary situation. Oh God, in my childhood, it was such an abuse. I don't want that to come back. That's how they are unable to forget also. But instead, they should be happy. It is not there now. It is over. It's not going to come back. It's all done, finished.
Okay, Baba, I'd like to read some of your commentary from the book related to these 3 verses. First, you say, tranquility is the nature of pure consciousness, that is the self. The mind has gone out of control since time immemorial by its actions of recognizing, analyzing, judging. It acquires imprints which form habits and attitudes. This is the cause of the birth and death experience in consciousness.
Yeah. You see, the mind, if it is quiet, there is no recognizing of any thought or any outside matter or anything, not even the body also. When it doesn't recognize us, there is no analyzing, because this is the tendency of the mind. The moment it recognizes, it has to analyze. This is good, this is bad, this is mine, oh, this is not mine, I need this, I don't need this, like that. All dualities, hundreds and thousands and millions can keep coming. And then it makes a judgment. Definitely I need it. That is the judgment. Then that is absorbed in the mind. You are unable to forget. Oh God, I need it. I cannot forget. I cannot give up. I need it. Then you lose peace all the time. You keep worrying about that one. So for a yogi, all these effects have been done with. There is no recognizing. So I have spoken about the mind's tendencies. It recognizes, it analyzes, and makes a judgment in quick succession. So when it is not there for a yogi, there is neither recognizing nor any analyzing, and the question of judgment doesn't arise. Yogi never judges anybody, anything in the world. Whatever this world is happening, mentally there is no judgment. Outside I might work if necessary. If somebody is being troubled, that other person is troubling one, so I can tell, okay, this is very bad, don't trouble that person. Like that, we can react mechanically. But mentally, I am not thinking all the time about such thing. Such thing doesn't occur. So somebody has to prick, somebody has to tell. That's when Vasistha, talking in Yoga Vasistha, if somebody prays, yogi can become compassionate. Otherwise, yogi would be just like inner. It is like inner. He cannot even afford to feel sorry for himself. He doesn't feel sorry for the world also. When nothing exists, where is the feeling of a sorry? So all these effects would have gone. And then it is the pure consciousness. You are just being there. That's what existing in the self always.
Baba, there's so many seeming contradictions. For example, you say you're not even concerned about yourself, but you're the most compassionate person I've ever met. And you say you're not, you're not, you don't even recognize the world, but yet you're the most alert person I've met too. How do these coexist? I know detached, you are that consciousness, so you're not involved in the actions of.
Maybe by nature, by practice, that naturally, effortlessly comes to me. Being compassionate, not to hurt anybody, talk softly, try to explain, questions also. Probably in a younger age, seeing certain gurus, when they don't know the answer properly, they would have read a book. Whatever they say, one has to accept. If you ask a question, they would get irritated. They will get annoyed. This is all the things you cannot understand. Like something like that. They outburst. Then disciples get scared. They don't want to ask a question. But seeing this, probably I learned and made it naturally for me. I encourage people to ask a question because if I don't know, I'm not afraid of telling I don't know. It is inconclusive. Simply you can tell, but there is no answer, but inconclusive. What to say? If there is an answer, you'll definitely tell, this is my opinion. This is what it is. So I always try to be soft and try to answer, explain the things. I saw many people making that mistake, not explaining, so not able to give proper explanation. Such people get into conflicts very quickly. They become prejudicial, what I have seen. So all these things are not good. So I thought if I become a guru, I'll become more understanding, better compassionate. So by that habit has come through this body, I think, though nothing is there in the mind, but I generally by nature I'm like that.
So you're kind of, once you self-realize the character is kind of running on whatever samskars and vasanas and impressions have built up and made that personality that way, it just continues like that?
Yeah, I might show compassion, but I remain unaffected.
Mhm.
I tell, this is the thing, you do like this one. This is the sadhana you have to achieve. So this is, you have to have faith and devotion. If they listen, they will be benefited. If they don't listen, they will not be benefited. So after telling this, I don't keep thinking whether they will listen to me, they do not. I forget about it, what I have told them. I had to tell and I told them, and it's up to them to keep it in the mind and practice accordingly. Then it will be beneficial for them, then they will win. If they don't take the teachings, they won't win. That's all. Both, I remain unaffected.
Okay, thank you. Reading a little more of the commentary, people are very troubled by identifying themselves with the body and its pains. People become happy or unhappy by identifying themselves with body actions such as I'm the doer, I have achieved. Actually, as the self, which is our real existence, we do neither something nor nothing. When we become aware of the self, we know that we're not involved in body actions and thus become peaceful. This cannot be practiced by reading books or listening to talks. Only by experience of the self, this state of mind comes.
Yeah, I keep telling, you see, just by reading a book, you cannot practice. You have to practice meditation so that the mind becomes quiet. Otherwise, the body consciousness has shifted from its original self towards the body due to coming in touch with the brain. That is how it is spread all over the body, that consciousness, giving anybody themselves as the body. See, there is an earthen pot. Inside there is space. The space has forgotten about itself and started thinking itself as the earthen pot. Pitcher, earthen pitcher, what it is called. that part. It is something like that. The Atman inside has forgotten about itself, has started thinking itself as the physical body. So once it has identified with the physical body, everything happening to the body appears to be happening to the self, simply in imagination, just like watching a movie. When you have identified yourself into the movie, everything that is happening in the movie appears to be happening to you consciously. Only when you become aware that you are just watching and there is nothing existent, then you are at peace. Oh God, thank God, nothing is happening. It's only on the screen. Make believe. If
So that,
any scene in the movie is panicking, scary, then for a moment, try to remember the moment when that shot would have been filmed. All the directors, cameramen, boys, so many units they would are there. Actors are simply acting and they are filming. Imagine that scenario. Then also your mind becomes very light and relieved. Oh God, this is all it would have happened when this scene is being filmed. So this is not real. So then you become aware of yourself that you are just watching. Like that about this world also, if you can think, the divine would have simply imagined about this thing. Or I would have imagined that's why this is appearing to be so. It will go away, no problem. So like that, we meditate. Only then the consciousness shifts back to the self. It goes back to the self. When it gives up preoccupation with thoughts and visions, when it becomes quiet, that's what precisely you are trying to do in that 1 hour of meditation. When we ask to just watch, that is what every student must understand, that you are supposed to just watch in meditation, not to think, not to recognize any vision or any thought at all. Even if it God comes, don't recognize in any form. That is what Swamiji is telling in other language. Even if God comes and wants to give you so much, refuse. You tell that, I want God only. I know God, whatever you can give is impermanent and it will go back to you only. It will not give me any happiness. And thus, I want you only. So like that, you assure yourself, keep thinking and then meditate, and it will smoothly quieten the mind, silences the mind. Then the consciousness shifts to the self. And that's it. Being there.
you say in the commentary, one should not try to practice this by reading. The mind needs to become totally quiet. Only then the ability to see God everywhere in everything as everything comes. Nice.
Just by reading, you start mixing the batter for the bread, and now the bread needs to be fixed. Like that, you go on reading. So you are likely to commit mistakes because your focus is on reading. Your focus is not on doing the things.
Mm.
You have to practice making bread and baking a bread. So that's what the sadhana, meditation. Sadhana was the word used by Swamiji, my guru. You have to do sadhana, used to repeat very much, talk less, and do more sadhana. So more meditation is very important, practical workshop. So that's why we enjoy conducting retreats when devotees appeal to us that they want to be in the retreat. That helps them to be meditating for 5 to 6 times 1 hour. Then in between, to clarify their doubts, question and answer sessions are also there. So that motivates them, that inspires them. Okay, we are on the right path. This is what we need to do. So thus, when you keep listening to my answer, all participants understand why we ask you just to watch and not to do anything else, so that mentally you become silent.
Okay. Baba, moving on to verse 4, chapter 13. Spiritual seekers who are yet still attached to the body think of following either action or inaction. Abandoning now both involvement and detachment, I rest truly happy. No, verse 5, no good or bad is associated with either I stay or go or sleep. Whether I stay or go or sleep, I live truly happy. Verse 6, I do not lose anything by rest, giving up thoughts of sad loss or exciting gain. I live happily. 7, seeing again that pleasure and pain vary constantly in differing circumstances, I have renounced identification with good or evil. I live in true happiness.
So in the commentary also I would have written, when the mind becomes silent, all these things which you went on reading, automatically it would have given up. You don't have to go into a big list of things. I would have given this, I would have given that, though that ancient teachers have used mentally, it is the mentally that you have to give up. So this happens practically when you practice meditation. You would have given up everything. When the mind is quiet, that means it would have given all ideas of good and bad, ideas of right and wrong, ideas of this and that, of dualities, ideas of existence and non-existence. Everything is gone.
Must transcend thought, basically.
Simply, that's it.
Baba, in your commentary here, you say whether you undertake action bodily or not, it's important to renounce by mind and not absorb any imprints or doership. A firm conviction of the impermanence of the world in the mind will give detachment. Detachment is to remain unaffected when things come and go.
See, bodily, any way of life, any type of action that you undertake will not matter that much for your liberation or for being in the self with total supreme peace. Or if anything is in the mind, you are reborn. So that will be the reason. Simply the body action will not be the reason. So along with the body action, with the mind also imagines. If it reverberates in the mind, and the mind also starts repeating the same, unknown to us, when we do a chanting, if the mind can just watch that chanting, then it can become quiet. In other words, if the mind also goes on chanting, so it imagines further, and it doesn't become silence, then it gets involved. I have told when the brain dies, the mind gets detached. If the mind is holding all desires in the form of thoughts and visions, so based on that, it assumes next birth. So if the things that are in the mind are non-violent, so you acquire a better birth. Elevated birth means you would have inclination since childhood for spirituality. You would obtain such pious parents who would train you into spirituality, talk to you about such things only. So how rare and how necessary this is means after being born, you cannot plan about your parents or teachers anything. You have to plan before by acquiring such habits in the mind. Then only it happens. So now, suppose you want total liberation, then you have to get rid of all ideas in the mind. Drop everything, just achieve silence. Don't bother about the good or bad also of this world. That I have told repeatedly. If we call this world as very good also, we get involved. We call this world as very bad also, we get involved. We tell ki this somebody is very bad person, we are getting involved mentally. We call ki bhai this is very good person, we are getting involved. Just be quiet in the mind. Don't make any judgment. There is neither good nor bad is there. In a drama, in a cinema, one person enters, he behaves very badly as a bad guy and goes. But he has been asked to do by the director and he is the villain. He is taking up the villain's role. Another comes and makes that person, slaps him, beats him up, asks him to get out and not to misbehave. He becomes the hero. That's because the director has asked him to do so. So then you just enjoy it, keep quiet, don't have to make any judgments. That's it. Like that, this world also. This will be possible only when you simultaneously every day practice meditation. That's very important. Without that, just by reading or listening to me, if you try to practice, you will misfire. You will see God in the elephant, but forget that God is in the elephant rider also. So that's important.
Okay, Baba, we'll read some from the commentary. Whether the body moves or stays at one place, sleeps or remains awake, no good or bad happens to the consciousness. Bondage happens only by absorbing imprints, by absorbing in the mind. Giving up any absorption in the mind and becoming quiet in the mind gives self-awareness and supreme peace. It's not by bodily actions that you gain or lose. It's by absorbing the imprints or habits and giving up all recognizing, analyzing, and judgment effects in the mind, keeping quiet. This can be achieved by watching.
That's what we were discussing all the time. This has to be practiced by practicing meditation, just watching the silence once it is achieved, and everything disappears from the mind. Otherwise, the mind gets involved into the good and bad always. So thus it experiences all the good and bad also.
Yeah, in your commentary, you said by keenly observing, you can gain understanding that neither pleasure nor pain stay forever. They're interchangeable. We depend on the happiness of this world. Unhappiness definitely follows. If there is unhappiness, happiness follows. When you meditate, no matter whether evil comes as a good or good comes as a thought, you do not bother and just watch. Then becoming quiet, you gain self-awareness and supreme peace.
That is the mechanism of this universe, the creation. It is always made up of dualities. I keep telling in my teachings, talks also, answers also, always. If you get attracted to the happiness of this world, be prepared for the unhappiness of this world also. That will follow definitely. Always one thing is not going to be there. Some fear comes, one day another courage comes. One day it is so happiness, another day it is unhappiness. So all these things keep coming. So if you rise above this, just keep the mind silent, then retire. So then you always have the peace. There is no fear of happiness or unhappiness at all. Because your happiness does not depend on anything. That means mind is happy on its own. It does not depend for its happiness on anything. When it does not depend on anything, it is independent. So nobody can disturb the mind's happiness. If we depend on something, if I depend on this surface, tomorrow somebody will snatch this surface, then I become unhappy. How will I do Zoom now? I cannot do the Zoom. The surface has gone. It's when, my God, what will I do? I keep scratching my head. So we are just happy. If it's available, we will do the Zoom. If the surface goes away, this laptop goes, we cannot do. We are sorry, we are unable to do the Zoom. So like that, it's not easy. As we keep talking, we smile. But you practice meditation, this will come to you also one day. You practice meditation. So just watching in between eyebrows.
Baba, now talking a little bit about happiness. In the past, you've always said supreme peace is, or supreme peace is beyond bliss. Now, happiness you kind of associate with a blissful or pleasant experience, and that's temporary and that's generated in the mind. But supreme peace is in the transcendent. That's permanent, and that's beyond the mind. So I mean, happiness sounds like a step below supreme peace.
Yeah, it seems if you keenly observe, a blissfulness always happens when you are still in duality. You and you experience that is blissfulness.
Mhm.
These two things happen. So then that is in duality. So that can make you to jump back to this world again because you are still existing in the world. That individual imagined self is still there. That identity is there. You are unable to forget. Only for that you are enjoying a blissfulness. Whereas when the final merger happens, self-realization, the supreme peace and self are not two different things. They are one and same. So thus, that supreme peace cannot be enjoyed in duality by remaining different from that supreme peace. You are that supreme peace. That happens when it is so totally composed and you get totally merged with the self. That's why after experiencing this only, I started talking. You have to go beyond bliss to achieve self-realization and supreme peace. Many people, when they get a small glimpse of blissfulness, they start misunderstanding that they have seen God and they have obtained the God realization, and they start talking all sorts of things. Now you can dance, you enjoy, you do anything in the world, that type of things, all they keep telling. That is not the thing, supreme peace. It will not give. You are depending on something still. That's the blissfulness. As long as you depend on something, it is not the final. You should not depend on anything. You must be that. As you are that, means the self and you are not different. The same way, supreme peace and you are not different. So you don't depend on anything for a supreme peace. You yourself is that supreme peace.
We just have to become aware of it. We have to meditate.
Simply, that's it.
Baba, in these talks, we've mentioned this before, they're really helpful in focusing in on what you need to be at peace, what you need to be happy.
Yeah.
I mean, happiness comes
When
with
I am
peace.
answering, when I am answering, I would request all participants to pay perfect attention is very necessary. Otherwise, sometimes I tell in some context and something, then some people misunderstand it to be something else. So then you lose the essence of the teachings actually, what we are trying to convey. Born out of the direct experience, it is coming out of me spontaneously. That's why you have to pay apt attention. That is very much necessary. That's what one of the essence of Ashtavakra Samhita. Ashtavakras demand a condition that he put to King Janaka to give him the self-realization is this is one of the major things. Your attention must be always on my teaching. If you don't listen properly and if you don't get into it, I'm not responsible. Then don't blame me. Whatever I tell you, just pay attention. At that time, don't keep thinking. Don't try to talk anything. Just listen. Just listening means you are just watching. Then you will be benefited. You will understand what I'm trying to convey.
Pranams, Babaji.
Yeah.
Thanks for answering our questions. I had a question, or just was thinking about something in a certain way. So Ramana Maharshi, and I believe others have said something similar to this, and it probably depends on your perspective. But I believe it's sort of said that all actions of the body are predetermined once it comes into existence. So is it sort of like the mind is along for the ride in a sense, and it's judging and it's taking on doership and it's taking on karma as it's going along the ride of the predetermined
Eh,
actions. So that's the problem, and you just need to stay silent as it's going through the ride, in a sense.
No, no. Listen to me
No? Okay.
carefully. Once again, I will answer your question. Several times we have attended to these things. Do not jump into any conclusion, whether predetermined or just a coincidence. Don't try to define either way. When it comes to you that you can think and you can execute, you can work it out, then try to think and work it out. Like when you have to think means that also you may not know where the source is coming. But one thing, if you practice more meditation, then your mind is likely to be less confused. When it is less confused, it will be able to take a proper decision and then you will work it out. Once you get into the work it out, any result that comes, accept it. Accepting is very necessary so that mentally you don't lose hope, you don't become disturbed, you don't lose your concentration. All these things are very important for your mind. Now, for a definition, either you think it was predetermined so that you don't lose hope. That is all. A destiny is start only for the reason that you don't become disappointed or frustrated. Say a certain thing you acted upon. Now, after years and years, you don't have to keep regretting for that. It is over, finished. Look for the next thing that you have to do. Don't try to, for that, simply it is start. You are destined to undergo. But really, nobody knows what definition conclusively, whether it is predetermined or whether it happened in that moment. This is the truth. Being a yogi, I am in front of all of you today. I'm telling the truth in the name of my Guru. There is no conclusive answer. Yesterday also we dealt with subject, whether it is coincidence or whether it is predetermined. Nobody knows. Whatever you tell, it appears to be so. A certain thing is used. Some sages used it as predetermined so that it gives some comfort to your mind. Oh, I was destined to undergo. It was not my fault. When you realize this, you become comforted. Otherwise, you keep regretting. Did I do some mistake? Should I have done like this? What should I have done? All these things. It will be waste of your energy, you see. That thing is already over. So do not bother about anything, whether it was predetermined or a coincidence. It just happened and it's over. Now look for the future. When you have to think to act upon in the future, try to keep your mind pure and less confused. Don't worry. Whatever you think is good for you, you act upon. And then undergo whatever has to come. Don't worry about it. If it is good or bad, it's okay, no problem. I initiate people into meditation. After that, I don't worry whether they will meditate or they will not meditate. Then I will go mad if I keep wondering like that. I just initiate his job. Like that, you all also live in this world. Then you exercise the willpower when there is a chance for you to think and execute the things. If you meditate, you will be able to better think and execute the willpower will be possible. Destiny, predetermination comes afterwards. Got it?
Baba. Hello. Wow, everything today is just like lots of light bulbs going off just everywhere. And I'm really receiving the energy of what you are saying in such a dramatic way today, this morning. One of the things I
Good.
really want to point out, because this was like one of the biggest light bulbs that went off, especially in today's time when so much is going on. And I know a lot of people are saying, why isn't the Guru saying about this in the world and this event in the world and that event? Why doesn't Baba talk about these things in the world? I never thought that, but I hear that a lot. But when you said this says everything, and now I know how to answer people that ask me this now. When you said the director is creating the drama and producing the characters, both good and evil, that play the roles of the drama. So, what you're really saying is that the yogi knows that this world is a divine drama. And all that we're living in right now, all of this stuff that is bombarding us, these characters, these dark characters, and all of this is part of this divine drama. And I feel as though I'm sitting here, I don't know what the end of this drama. I'm just looking at I don't know where this drama is going, just like in a play. I know what the first scene is. I don't know what's going to come. And I thought, this is the way I'm going to start approaching this.
The one who has created this drama will take care of the end also, the supreme consciousness. We don't have to bother. You work as a good person. If some friend comes, try to influence in the right way so that there is no conflict. Let all of us live in peace and happiness. Let us love and honor each other. If that person doesn't like, he will go away. If he likes, he will become your friend. That's it. And you live in happy and peace.
Yes. Thank you so much, Baba.
Pranams, Baba. Baba, my question is related to the previous chapter, the item number 7. Thinking of that which is beyond thought is still thinking. Renouncing of thought, I know I now live in the self. So, and that for a few days I'm thinking about prayer, how to pray to God or to the divine. And then that sentence kind of resumed, I guess, my doubt. If the divine is not kind of being affected by any of everything that's happening, how is the prayer to that and relates to it? And if it's, as it says, it's still thinking. So I wouldn't really be getting closer to the self, because even when I pray, I'll be getting away from the self and not closer to the self. So the idea of prayer.
Yeah, I got it. What you are trying to say. 2 things. You pray. When you pray, if you sincerely pray, applying your mind, be mindful, then your mind can get connected to divinity. Okay. Divine's compassion, grace automatically descends. Just by that grace descends, God will not be affected. The divine will never be affected. Why? He will not, because he will not keep thinking, somebody is praying, I have to grace upon. He won't think like that one. Somebody prays, if the mind touches the divine, the grace automatically flows. That is why prayers, faith, all these things are taught. And along with that, you must meditate also to quieten your mind. So now prayer enables you to be in touch in your imagination with the divine. Meditation gradually will elevate you in touch with the divine beyond imagination. So while if at all there has to be some imagination, let it be imagining the divine and pray. So prayers are not wrong, don't worry. You pray to God whenever you need something. In imagination, that will connect you to the divine. You meditate, it will take you beyond imagination and connect you to the divine. Both can be equally effective. You go on doing this. That's all needed.
Thank you very much, Baba. Pranams, Baba.
Baba, there's one question. There's one question
Okay.
in the chat. Can you take that?
Okay. Yeah,
Okay.
I'll take it. Okay.
All right. Let's see. The story of Shikidwaja and Shudala. Do you know this story, Baba?
Shikhadwaja, I think.
Yes, in Chudala. King went through
Chudala.
all, yes, King went through all kinds of ascetic practices and then renounced the kingdom and lived in a forest eating roots, etc. Then an enlightened queen, Chudala, then gave him a teaching that this was not needed. He could get enlightenment while living in a kingdom as well. Is this true? First question. Second
See,
question.
I will answer this question and then we'll go to the next one. The king went to forest. He was meditating. He had given up the kingdom also. But one thing he carried was his mind. In his mind, he was still the king. He still maintained his that ego. So that's why he could not get complete self-realization, was not coming. There was some dissatisfaction was there for him. So that's when Chudala, his wife was a householder, but she used to work, but she had achieved that self-realization by acceptance. Her consciousness had given up all idea, had become quiet. So she knew the truth. She knew that the king is still holding the ego. That is the problem. That is when she advises him. This thing could come here at home also. All that you needed was to give up your ego. You went there, still you maintained that ego that you are a king. That's why it is delaying. She gives that teachings to him. Once he realizes that king, then the king gives up his attachment that he is a king. He is not a king anymore. That's what I keep telling devotees. Remember, Swamiji used to tell, don't come to me as an army officer. Don't come to me as a businessman. Don't come to me as a royal person. Just come to me as a devotee. Then you will learn. If you come with that ego, you will not learn. All of you sitting, 150 people, 100 people in the Zoom class, you need to be students. Accept me as a master. Then you will learn. If you think that, oh, this somebody old man is talking, I know much better than him, I have read Yoga Vasistha, then you will not learn anything. So that is important. That's what Chudala tried to tell him. So next question.
Second question. Some sages got free directly with the aid of self-knowledge and directly destroyed all conditioning just with awareness. Is self-realization possible just with self-knowledge and awareness without meditation practice for some rare seekers?
You see, self-knowledge means many people might misunderstand by reading the book and knowledge comes. That is not the thing. Here, important by giving up all ideas of the mind. That's also not easy. The mind has gone out of control since time immemorial. Overnight, simply sitting on a boulder on a treetop, you cannot give up the mind like that. Like some gurus start claiming, I got enlightened like this for 3 days. It doesn't happen like this. They don't know what enlightenment is. A meditation means when you give up everything of the mind, that is what the meditation is. Meditation means you pay attention to, you gain awareness of the self. That is what is meditation means. Meditation doesn't mean that you have to meditate upon something that is different in a distance. You just become aware of yourself. Anywhere, anytime that you are able to give up all ideas of the mind, then you become self-realized. Try if you can give up. Be sincere to yourself. Don't simply claim. If you can give up all ideas, you will gain automatically. That's yours. Otherwise, meditate.
Thank you, Baba.
Babaji, I was just reading Gita today, and in that chapter 4 of Karam Yoga, so that is also mentioned as a path of purification. But like you are saying that just by doing our duties and working, the mind is still not free. It's still carrying, even though we do our daily duties with without attachment, still the mind still holds on to some kind of expectations, and so the sadhana is important in its own way.
Yes.
We
Yeah.
that a lot.
Yeah. That expectation must not be there. Acceptance without expecting anything. When you do the karma, that is the selfless service. If the mind is expecting something, don't expect either the criticism or the appreciation. Even if nobody appreciates, you just do the thing just for sake of doing the thing. Then only it is a selfless service. Then the acceptance comes, only the mind recedes and becomes quiet. In whatever way, important that you need to understand is mind has to become quiet. Then only it gets absorbed into the self. So if you take care of this, then the karma yoga will be happens. That's what Sri Krishna tried to explain. Simply by doing a karma, a yoga will not happen. Yoga will happen when you give up attachment to the fruits of the karma.
So, Babaji, how do we give up the attachment? Sadhana, I think, would help.
Yeah,
Is that
do it as if you are doing it a duty. Means your boss has asked you to do the duty. That boss is God. He has asked you to do it without thinking why I should be doing this, what is going to happen through this. Both things do not bother and just do it. Then your mind can become quiet. That's what I did. 20 years of my service at the lotus feet of the master. Whatever he wanted me to do in the ashram, for outsiders, it appeared to be odd. Looking after the children of some rich devotees, bringing them from the school, feeding them, playing with them, taking back to the school, buying a cinema ticket for them. Whatever it was, I went on doing. I never thought why I should be doing. Let this service reach my master's lotus feet. So thus my mind decided. It accepted and it became quiet. So everything became a meditation for me eventually. So like that, if you also try to do it, then the karma yoga will be successful.